the layoff, like the likelihood of being laid off within a year is actually pretty high at this point.
Oh, well, this is not about layoffs, though. This is about they just quit because they just don't want to do it.
They don't.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're not even soft quitting. They just quit.
No, they just quit.
It's all about the soft quitting, people.
It's hard quitting.
Yeah.
It is Command Apple Escape. Force quit.
You make them quit you.
Or Apple.
if you really want to leave that bad.
Option Apple Escape. I don't know that joke would have been improved by me getting the key commands correct.
No, I think the joke was great.
I think it was just bad all in general.
Welcome to the JRPG Pursuit, a podcast about all things JRPGs, from the games we play to the games we collect and everything in between. My name is Abdallah.
I'm Emily.
And I am Brandon.
And today, we're going to be talking to you about games that just didn't shine enough when they initially released. Yeah. You know, were they games that just were ahead of their time? Did they have mechanics? Did they have story, like beats, things that they were doing with these games that just didn't click at the time, or just didn't click enough at the time?
They were too good for this world. We didn't deserve them back then, is what I'm going to say.
Exactly. And there's some games that were more or less a little popular then, but they also did things that no one focused on, and you didn't see a lot of games do that until later. Mm-hmm. So we'll talk about those things today in this episode. But yeah,
Pioneers.
Looking
at Pioneer JRPGs.
Yes. So I'm excited to talk about this. Let's go into, I don't know. What do you think? I think, Brandon, you had a good one. I think the one that sets the stage.
The one that I've brought up before on this show, I'm sure, is Breath of Fire Dragon Quarter.
Yes.
Everybody talks about this game as this is the game that killed Breath of Fire. It just destroyed the series, dismantled it. I would argue that's maybe a little overblown. I don't think it destroyed Breath of Fire. I think the switch to HD is probably what killed Breath of Fire. But Dragon Quarter was very unique, and it remains to this day pretty unique in a lot of ways. Mm-hmm. But the element that I think makes it ahead of its time is the fact that it was essentially a roguelike RPG, which is crazy. The premise is that you play through the game and you have, as Ryu, Ryu traditionally turns into a dragon, right? Because the Japanese are not subtle with their names, Ryu being like dragon, right? That's the one downside to starting to learn Japanese is you discover that all of the major characters in every franchise you like are named as terrible puns. Like it's everything. Anime.
They love the puns. They love the puns. It's their bread and butter.
It's all wordplay, and it's so annoying. Anyway, Ryu has the ability to turn into a dragon, right? And throughout the course of the game, you have this meter that fills up as you use your dragon power. And if you get that meter full, it's game over, baby. Yeah. You lose. But there are times when you have to do it. Like you have to, because you're going to die otherwise. So the way the game works is you are expected to make progress in the game, die and or fill up that meter, and have to start over. Yeah. And you continue to start over and over and over, and you retain certain things as you do multiple playthroughs. But the way they sort of made that palatable for an RPG audience was every time you go through the cycle, you get more story scenes in the game. So you actually get more backstory, more information about what's going on, scenes that you weren't seeing before, you're now seeing. So it rewards you for engaging with it, right? It wants you to continue to play the game over and over. Now, I know for me, I was 18 when that game came out, and I was not having it. I struggle to think whether I would have it today even, right? Because I'm not a big roguelike guy. But roguelikes have had a renaissance in the past several years. So to me, I feel like if this game came out today, it would be like a hidden gem, just adored, maybe not by everybody, but it would have a sizable fan base, I think.
Of audience, for sure.
Yeah.
Especially once more players, got used to what a roguelike is and dying all the time.
Yeah.
I think that's probably the thing that at that time period, right? People didn't like dying because they felt like they were losing or failing.
You lost the game, and we've been trained our whole lives that
Game over.
dying is bad. Don't do it. And this is a game that's like, you will do it and you're going to like it. And
I
you
like
didn't.
Yeah, I remember because like I was like what, I don't know, probably around 16 years old, and I remember my friend picked it up and went over to his place and we were playing it together, and we were so just annoyed with the idea of like having to redo the beginning sequence constantly. Every time I had to go back and have to, do all the same story beats, all the same aspects from the beginning part. And so like, it just became a level of frustration that we finished it, but it was rough. Like we weren't enjoying the situation, but I feel like, me now, I've played a lot of different roguelites over the years, especially like since the indie scene is so like prevalent with them. Yes.
Abundant.
There's so many of them. And so I feel like I'm more forgiving of that. I still don't remember, I don't remember much of the story beats in the game in general, but I'm wondering if the beginning sequences are fast enough that I would still enjoy kind of redoing it over and over again to this day. So it's on my backlog of like, I should touch this again and see how I feel, take another run of this as like as someone who's like much older than 16 at this point. See in my adult brain, does it enjoy it or not?
Yeah, I might have to give it a try too.
If they do revive Breath of Fire, would they go back with the roguelikes or would they try to go back to traditional?
I think they're going to be terrified by the response that game got. Yeah. Even though we intellectually we can sit down and be like, well, actually, it would do much better today. The suits are not going to see. They're not having those intellectual conversations.
Well, I haven't even touched the franchise except for those GOG releases in Steam. Yeah,
they did Breath of Fire 6. It technically exists. Everybody tries to.
Oh, the mobile, yeah.
Everybody tries to say it doesn't exist.
I forget.
I'm sorry, I don't like bad things either. I hate bad things too. But Breath of Fire 6 was a thing. It
Brandon,
did exist.
Why did you remind me? I thought I scrubbed that out of my brain, my memory.
I'm sorry. We have to accept it.
I almost forgot.
We have to accept it or we can't move on.
I can't. I can never move on from that.
Maybe the mobile game was ahead of its time because now we get so many mobile games.
That's actually, you know what? I hate you for saying it, but you're right.
It's true. It's true. It can't all be like Octopath Traveler 0 level.
No. I mean, if they were to do something similar with that, like just take the core story. I don't know anything about the story. I didn't play it, but like if they took the core story and made a standard game out of it, I wonder how it would be. But
I wonder.
I mean, extremely unlikely.
Capcom has been killing it, so they
have been.
They have the potential to do like a really good Breath of Fire.
They dropped
game.
all their RPGs really, except they did. Monster Stories 3. It's still
yeah. They did drop a lot of them though. I would love to see them come back with a new Breath of Fire attempt or even a new IP role-playing game.
Honestly, yeah.
Give us something. I feel like a lot of developers like working on those, even if they're not the most profitable. Like they're not going to make as much as a Resident Evil, of course, or a Monster Hunter. But I think it's good for the developers. They like working on these kinds of higher brow games. So
hear me out.
Higher brow.
Hear me out. Resident Evil JRPG. Do it.
I'd be there day one. I'd be there day one.
People already love Resident Evil. And why not give us a little bit of a...
Would they make it like Parasite Eve, you think? Or
I would say you could do it like that. Or give it like a flashy, kind of like Expedition 33 flashy, combat style. It doesn't have to be like button...
Turn-based?
It could be turn-based.
Could be turn-based, yeah.
Or you can even make it like an action...
I would like an action gun one. I think that'd be cool.
Yeah.
But I would say turn-based just because...
Do a Resonance of Fate style.
Yes. But not as complicated.
I never played it because I heard it's too complicated.
But I would love to see Capcom just they have the Resident Evil engine, and that thing is they can make anything they want in that engine. And so it's not that hard. And they have the assets, like Resident Evil assets. Just do it. Come on, guys.
Yeah. Come on, guys.
You're already messing around with a lot of stuff. Make it, even if it's like a DLC. I don't care. Whatever.
Or like a minigame. They just released for Requiem a minigame.
I know. I just finished Requiem last week, so I'm just it's fresh. I need it. Come on, give me 3. But yeah, Breath of Fire was definitely ahead of its time in terms of just mechanics.
Or later entries.
Yeah.
Which is funny. Yeah. It's funny that it was, because the first 4 Breath of Fire games, they're good, they're great, but like they weren't pushing the envelope in like a significant way. They were pretty bog standard JRPGs of the era. Yep. And then 5 comes out of left field with this crazy premise that nobody had ever done. It's like, okay, what? Somebody ate their Wheaties and they got ambitious.
They got really bored of making just typical JRPGs, and all of a sudden they were just like, let's go full on crazy at the time.
I just realized I made a reference to eating your Wheaties, and if anybody's under the age of 30, you have no idea what I'm talking about. Maybe you are familiar with the cereal on the shelves at the store, but it was a marketing campaign, better eat your Wheaties.
Wheaties still exist, right? But the marketing campaign is not there.
They do, but that marketing
Frosted
campaign
Mini Wheats.
Frosted Mini Wheats.
That's different, but I do like it.
It's similar.
It's similar.
They got a lot of wheat and a lot of sugar, and I like them. I do
like them.
I like them too much.
Any of you guys have what's another game that you would want to talk about? I've got a whole list, so if you guys run out, I can go all day.
Okay. I feel like we need to talk about it because, it's our favorite game, Brandon. Emily, one day will be your favorite game when you
one day I'll finish it. I started it.
Yeah. But I want to talk about story from a story perspective, something that was way ahead of its time. And it's something that is really popular even now. But that is Xenogears. Because, we can't have an episode of the JRPG Pursuit without talking about Xeno.
A little bit of Takahashi-san.
Little Takahashi.
In my life.
It's that love. It's that love there.
Crazy game.
Exactly. Because
like mechanically, I think it's interesting too, kind of ahead of its time.
Yeah.
But I think, I guess you'll go more into it because you guys actually played it. But
mechanically, I would say like it kind of bridges because there's Legend of Legaia, which is also a game that I think was also ahead of its time in terms of the combat system, having this kind of like fighting combat styles, like combo system, which Xenogears also has, not to like an intense situation as that game, but still really good. But
and Xenogears technically came out before Legaia, I'm pretty sure.
That's true. Yeah. Yes, I believe so. But from a story perspective, like not only was it ahead of its time in terms of its themes of religion, philosophy, and things like that, but it was also ahead of its time for a Final Fantasy game because initially it was proposed as being the next Final Fantasy VII, and Square was like, "No, this is too dark. This is too much. People aren't going to like this. Let's make it
pretty dark."
And 7 ended up pretty dark, but this one I think because of like the philosophy, the religious tones around everything. No, exactly.
Yeah, Final Fantasy hadn't brought in so much of that like real world philosophy, religion, psychology. Yeah, that Xenogears did.
A little bit under the surface, but for the most part, no, it's not wasn't like the forefront.
There wasn't a character literally named Id in Final Fantasy before. So, they were a little more subtle. But it definitely pushed the envelope too much for Square to be comfortable putting Final Fantasy on it at the time, which is in some ways is crazy because in Final Fantasy VI, you watch a guy genocide a whole nation. Like it's not, it's like they did some pretty dark stuff in those games. But
I guess the limit was like real world philosophy and religion.
Like let's not bring that into it, right?
Yeah, that's too much.
It has some boundaries.
There are some boundaries for the Final Fantasy series at the time.
But Final Fantasy has gone pretty dark in the years since. Yeah, there's quite a lot of heavy stuff in Final Fantasy now.
Exactly. 16 is a very heavy game. Like it's lots of depression happening in that game.
It's oppressive. I'll say it's oppressive.
It is. It is very, very suffocating in terms of the depression that comes from that. But Xenogears itself. So at the time, up until now, the West has been very weird about bringing any sort of iconology that is religious, philosophical, especially just religious. Like Nintendo of America was very much adamant throughout the NES era and even the SNES era to be like, nah, if you had any sort of religious iconology in the games, like Castlevania or anything like that, you had to remove it. It had to be kind of washed out. So it just wasn't a thing.
there was a reason. The reason for that was like the what's his name, the moral majority guy. You know, in the 80s, like there was a lot. There was so much of this like Christian, was particularly Christian right, and having grown up in it, I can say from the inside, this is what it was, right? Like this is what my family was talking about. They were a very outspoken group that had a lot of power. I mean, you could argue they still do, but they had a lot of power in the media and boycotts and things, and Nintendo in particular, but also Sony were like, let's just not poke the bear if we don't have to. Right.
Exactly.
So up until that point, up until Xenogears, you know, games didn't touch that stuff at all.
Yeah.
Like they just were like, nah, just edit it out if we're going to bring the game over at all. And I remember there being a lot of controversy around Xenogears potentially not even getting localized because of that.
Because
they're like,
honestly.
They're like, we can't edit this out. Like I remember seeing something, I don't know if it was with Richard Honeywood or whatever, the localizer, but saying like, no, we can't change enough of this. It would not make it's already hard to understand this game.
Exactly.
It would make no sense if we tried to edit this stuff out. So Sony and Square, I guess, to their credit, were like, let's just rip the Band-Aid off. Like, this is a niche game. It's not going to be a 10 million seller. Let's just do it. Let's just get it out. And
I didn't think a greatest hits will be in the works here.
Which kind of interestingly, it ended up achieving that status.
I know, it did.
But like, I don't think they expected it to.
No.
But yeah, it was hitting on a lot of those very sensitive themes.
Like even the marketing around it was like leaning kind of into the religious tones of like, you know, stand tall and shake the heavens and things like that. Like,
which was such a smart. I mean, I have that.
I know
You can't see it, but like my picture on the wall, like I have that magazine ad that just like resonated with me so much. And that's a layered advertising campaign because that's a quote from Nietzsche. Yeah. Right? Like what?
Exactly. Like,
and he was one of the philosophers that Takahashi was like really pulling from.
Yes.
Do they use that quote in the Japanese ads too?
I don't know. It's a good question.
I'm curious.
Yeah.
I'd imagine that they would have it would have fit because they were very like, they definitely didn't add any of that stuff for the US, right? Like
no,
the Xenosaga series the 3 episodes are named after Nietzsche books. Like they're
yep.
It's not subtle.
Takahashi was never, especially in the early days before Xenoblade, which was, you know, probably part of the reason why the game's never really kind of caught on as much as Xenoblade has, is that he was not subtle about his love for philosophy and things like that.
He learned subtlety, and that's how Xenoblade has remained with us.
Yeah. I think Nintendo kind of like taught him that, like they were just like, hey, do whatever you want, but just make sure that like the story is contained and like you can kind of they taught him how to.
Part of it's not even just like the themes, it's just when there's a certain level of like what the theme is about, like it doesn't cater to a majority of the population, right?
No, exactly.
So they just had to kind of not quite dumb it down, but you know, make it more
dress it up,
approachable.
Dress it up. Yeah, dress it up.
People.
Make it palatable, right?
Exactly.
And there's nothing wrong with that. People will get upset about that and cry censorship or like you know you're diluting the creative vision or whatever. It's like no, like you're making. There's nothing wrong with putting a little peanut butter around your dog's pill so that they'll eat it, right? Like they're still getting the pill. It's just that it's palatable for them. Like it's the same thing. We're all stupid dogs and we need to be fed peanut butter sometimes, and that's fine.
Yeah, because it's funny because like within like I look at Xenoblade 2, I think is a good example because it like really doesn't get obvious until the right towards the end. And by the end, you're already sold. Like you've played this game and you're in it to win it. And like, then it hits you with like Takahashi going full Takahashi. And you're just like, oh, okay, well now I'm out. I love it. I can't say I don't love it. It's like, I'm already sold on this. So like he did a really good job of like kind of throwing his thought process of what he always wanted the Xeno series to be into Xenoblade and get people really interested in the series as a whole. I think he's done a good job of finally hitting that sweet spot.
Yeah.
Like, I think you guys also wanted to talk about Xenosaga as a bit ahead of its time for different reasons.
Yeah.
Want to continue on that path?
Yeah. Yeah. Xenosaga was conceived from the beginning as a long form epic series of games telling a single story. And we hadn't seen that really, right? Like, we had seen franchises, games that had multiple sequels. They were always standalone, right? You would have maybe occasionally, like Final Fantasy X had a sequel or whatever, 10 2.
Spin-off-ish.
But 11 wasn't a sequel to 10, right? 12 wasn't a sequel to 11. They were all very standalone.
Yeah.
And that's just how franchises were done, because the idea, and it makes sense, was you don't want people to feel like they can't jump in at any point, because then you're basically dooming every subsequent game to have a lower sell-through rate than the one before it, because people are going to fall off the series. You're not going to get new people on a later game. Takahashi said, I don't care. We're going to do it anyway.
Yeah.
And so they did, and it was not successful. I would say it was so unsuccessful that the original 6-game plan was cut in half. And they had to wrap it up pretty quick in the 3rd game. And a lot of stuff had to happen off camera. And that's, I'll be honest, bothered me for years.
To this day. I'm still bothered by it, because I all I wanted was an actual
Conclusion.
6 episode. Like, I wanted the full story, because, like, being such a, growing up playing Xenogears and seeing that, like, episode 5 snippet at the end, it's like
that.
And then realizing, like, when you first found out, because, like, you read this in a magazine, like, back in the day, like, this was like on Game Informer or whatever it was at the time, and then you get a snippet of like they're talking about, like, there's a Xenosaga game coming out, and it's going to be the reimagining of Xenogears, but across 6 episodes, and so it's going to retell everything. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, give it to me right now.
Yeah.
And so the biggest betrayal was when they after they canceled the 6 episodes after episode 1, and as episode 2 was coming out, they're just like, no, sorry, we're kicking Takahashi off the team, where he's leaving, and we're just going to make this 3 episodes. And I was like,
yeah,
it hurt. It
hurt a lot. But to the point of this topic, like, that long form storytelling, it was a bold risk to take, because nobody had done it, and like multiple series in this generation, this is when it started, I guess we should say.
Yes.
Like, Xenosaga was the most notable in the beginning, but this is also the era when the Trail series started, right?
Yeah.
And Kingdom Hearts got started around that time too. So there was something in the air, I guess, that made these developers who have been telling these self-contained stories for a couple of console generations at this point suddenly be like, but we could just keep going. We could just make these bigger.
If more to tell.
Yeah, they have a lot to get into. And
I mean, with Falcom, they were pretty upfront about, Xenogears being a bit of a, like, they took a lot of inspiration from Xenogears when they were, first thinking about Trails and stuff like that. So it is incredible. And then I don't think we saw, like, a sci-fi trilogy of this sort until Mass Effect.
At that time.
True,
Like, especially sci-fi, like hard sci-fi.
Like, Phantasy Star is technically a series, but they weren't really.
Well, the original,
they were connected, but it was like, it's been 1,000 years since the like, this
so
is
generationally.
It's like such a broad span of time that it's not.
But there is a connection there. It's just not as. It's not like these things are.
It's not as pre-planned. It sounds like it was like we want to tell this one story. Okay, let's continue on, but with this flavor now. Like, it wasn't. Pre-thought out. How to
it's kind of like
do an overarching kind of arc, to tell a larger story.
Kind of like Lufia kind of did it with almost like a back-to-back a little bit. But
Golden Sun too, back-to-back a little bit. But that was pre-planned.
Yeah. But Xenosaga was kind of ahead of its time with what it was trying to do. With this just a mixture of what Xenogears was doing, but also at a scale much larger than originally.
it walked so that Trails could run is kind of how I see it. Like, Trails learned the lesson that, you know, if we just do this long uninterrupted string of games, people are not they're not gonna do it. So they came up with the arc concept where you can jump in at the beginning of an arc and you will be okay. Yeah. I know a lot of Trails fans will be screaming, no, you have to start with Sky or you're going to have a bad experience and I'm going to be so upset about it. It's like, no, they'll be fine, bro.
You'll be just fine. You're just fine.
They'll be okay.
And I think Falcom in itself, they're very good at managing expectations in terms of like financials and what scope of a game, where Takahashi, I think, was struggling on that. If you look at Xenogears, like the second disc is rough in comparison. And then Xenosaga, like I imagine he put a lot of money and resources into the first game, and then Bandai Namco is probably like, we didn't make enough money to justify this, and we're going to do this for 5 others. And
you want us to lose money 6 times?
So I think like Falcom took the more avenue of like, let's just make like, you know, keep the base low, like the bottom line low, and like make a good compelling narrative with graphics doesn't have to be everything. And so I think that's what I think really set them apart.
Sprites in Sky, I thought they're charming.
They are charming. And that's the thing is like with like people were doing like very much 3D, like they wanted 3D like experiences, but then some, you know, developers out there were still making a killing off of like a little bit more retro looks.
For sure.
Yeah.
And Brandon, when you mentioned that Trails could, or Xenosaga walked so that Trails could run, I do think Xenoblade too. They definitely learned their lesson. Like we kind of got into like how to approach not just philosophy, but also like management and scope when it comes to making somewhat self-contained stories, but seeing how they interconnect as a bigger picture later on.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it all seemed pretty pre-planned, didn't it? It wasn't just like an afterthought, like, oh, let's connect them because that would be cool.
I mean, like I said, I'm trying to avoid spoilers, but like I had said before, like when I played Xenoblade 1, I was like, this feels like this is Xenosaga, but I don't have any proof, but it feels like it. Like there's little like nuggets of evidence, but not hard proof. And then at the end of Xenoblade Future Redeemed, it's like, oh, okay, there's the proof. Okay, I was right.
There's the proof.
Yeah.
And then one last thing, or sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say one last thing when it comes to the Xeno series. I think it is also, we should probably credit Xenoblade as being probably a forerunner when it comes to like the environments and how much scale you could put into open zone sort of games at that time on the Wii.
Yeah. Like I would say that no game has quite hit that level for me of scale that Xenoblade did on the freaking Wii. Right?
It's
like
ridiculous.
In the JRPG genre. Like there are open world games that I guess you could say, like some of them feel empty, some of them feel fuller. Like I think The Witcher 3 is pretty full. Yeah. Breath of the Wild has its moments, but it's not necessarily continually like very full.
Yeah.
It's incredible what they were able to do with the Wii though. Like that's the thing. It's like they had it was not a powerful system, and the fact that they were able to make like a huge open world that felt lived in, like with all the different like monsters and things like that, and like it was so filled with everything.
Yeah, and squeeze that into the 3DS too later on, the new 3DS.
That's crazy, crazy,
wild.
Yeah, I kind of hope that other games kind of pick up the mantle and keep going with that. I mean, I'm assuming that whatever Monolith Soft works on next, if it's explicitly Xeno related or whatever, will probably continue in that tradition.
Yeah.
Just because that's kind of what that development team has proven they're really, really good at is making these worlds. That's why Nintendo has them making basically every game now.
Yeah, basically.
It's unfortunate because I want them to focus on
give us our RPGs.
Yeah,
give me some more RPGs.
I know they're really talented, but we need.
We want them for our own purposes.
Yeah. Man, but Xenoblade.
Xenos,
fantastic.
just all the Xenos.
Yeah,
all the Xenos have been ahead of their time. Yeah, I guess that's true.
Yeah.
And I guess to go off of Xenoblade, I wanted to also, give credit to Final Fantasy 12. I think it was ahead of its time.
It definitely was.
And probably heavily inspired Xenoblade when it comes to at least the combat.
Yeah, very similar.
I suspect, so yeah, I think that it has directly influenced games like Xenoblade with their combat. I also suspect that 12 remains ahead of its time in that I fully think that we're going to have more games in the future that use something like the Gambit system where you are kind of, you have AI characters that you sort of program yourself, right? Like I don't know that other games have really taken up that mantle yet. Let me know in the comments if there's games that have a similar kind of programming thing, but I can't think of any. But it would not shock me.
Other than like MMOs, kind of. But I guess you don't usually, the NPCs, if you have NPCs with you, you don't usually command them as much.
Right. You might be able to issue a command like retreat or attack.
You don't give them advanced statements to do exactly what they should do.
Yeah,
no, exactly.
But like the advanced programming that you do in 12, I think is something that is shocking to me that hasn't been picked up on more, especially now that style of combat is more accepted. Like at the time, MMOs were still kind of new, and there's obviously a lot of overlap in the whole auto attack thing. Like that was so off-putting to me as a kid, or not a kid, I guess I was technically an adult, but as a young adult. That was so off-putting to me at the time because I was like, I don't what just auto attack. I don't want to do that.
Like you have control, but not really control.
Yeah, like you're like giving up so much control, and you're only controlling one character too, as the first Final Fantasy where you were only controlling one character at a time, and it's like, what is going on here? This is nuts. But now, like that is kind of the norm, right? It's become very standard in JRPGs that aren't explicitly turn-based, right? So it's already influenced a ton of games, even outside of Xenoblade. I would say there's a lot of games owe a lot to Final Fantasy 12 for kind of ripping the Band-Aid off and saying like, you don't have to do either turn-based or action. You can do some kind of hybrid.
Yeah, like auto attacks too as an option. You could do even like in Dragon Quest nowadays. If you wanted to.
Then you have games like Unicorn Overlord. That's like an auto battler almost. Like you just kind of like set up your teams and they just kind of go off and do their. You manage the team itself and it does its own.
They do their thing. I do think Final Fantasy 12 outside of the combat though, like I think the scope of the world on the PS2 is somewhat similar to Xenoblade. Like Xenoblade definitely took that a whole nother level. But I do think the precursor may have been like 12 because I remember when I was playing that as a kid, my mind was blown. Like having come from Kingdom Hearts and then transitioning to Final Fantasy 12, I was like, wow, video games could do this. On the PS2.
The scale is crazy. It's giant zones. I mean, it's not truly open world, right? But it's like gigantic zones.
It's like open zone.
Which is, I mean, to be fair, is kind of what Xenoblade was too,
right?
It
is. It's not open world for Xenoblade.
Coming from Final Fantasy X, which was kind of very linear in how it was like designed, it was very much like a different experience for a Final Fantasy game. Like it was very ahead of its time.
It's truly the antithesis of Final Fantasy X. 10 and 12, I think, are the most different games to come out basically sequentially if you don't count 11.
Exactly.
10 was like Asian. 10 was Asian inspired turn-based and 12 was Western fantasy MMO, like just like as different as they could possibly be. And thus began Final Fantasy's trend towards reinventing itself every single game. And they've never looked back since. So I mean 12 I think is a big influence already, and I do think that we will see that sort of macro programming thing come back. It's weird that it hasn't already, honestly.
On that scale, like to be clear, I think there are definitely characters you could kind of program in other games. I don't have a good example though, but I feel like
let us know if
like be more active or be more defensive, like that kind of like very shallow programming.
The shallow programming, like in things like I feel like in the Tales of games. You could set characters to only use spells or, stay in the back and stuff. Like there's definitely that. But it's that next level that I think is kind of missing and could be, as long as you give me an option to do it, to have it like give me some presets or something, because I ain't gonna do it. But I respect it. I'm not gonna do it.
Which is amazing, because like,
that's just me.
Your team, your computer team members in a lot of JRPGs back in the day just like didn't do what you wanted them to do.
They were dumb.
Oh,
they were dumb. And so like to be able to give them like direct orders to be like, hey, if like I go under this amount of health, like do this, like you heal me and then you use this or do like that. Like you can micromanage every character and just like get them down to like a science where you can just break the heck out of the game.
Rely on them.
It's incredible. Like that amount of micromanaging for the game it tickles a lot of different people's brains, differently, but like it does.
Mine too. But
putting it that way kind of makes me wonder if so Square was trying to solve a problem when they were making 12. They were trying to solve that dumb NPC problem. Right?
The meme with Donald trying to heal you comes to mind from Kingdom Hearts.
Oh yeah,
they were trying to solve that. Yeah, they were trying to solve that problem, and so their solution. You could argue it's maybe a little inelegant. Like it's like, here, program it yourself. Like that's the solution, right? And I wonder if the fact that we haven't seen that detailed programming come back is just because other developers since then have gotten more adept at
sophisticated
their NPC programming, right? So it's like, we don't need to have the player do this. We can say, okay, it makes sense. If the player character is below 25% health, they should probably heal. So maybe they're taking that control away from the player because they've figured out how to do it more effectively themselves. Now, having said that, I think there is a player base that would probably really like having that sort of granular control. I'm not part of that player base, but I think that they are out there and would like that. I know that
if you have these tactics games, like for like Disgaea, for example, you can make your own characters down to every single little detail, and not so much programming because you, of course, will command them. But there's definitely, I think,
there's an audience for it. So it'll be interesting to see if that does come back in some form. Jumping off of the something that a game did that has never really been done since. I wanted to talk about Chrono Cross, because Chrono Cross is one of the most interesting examples to me of a game that is ahead of its time and also sort of an evolutionary dead end for the genre. Like, it is so fascinating. Even taking the story out of it, the story is weird and interesting and cool, and a sequel to Chrono Trigger, which is great. Taking all that out, the game mechanics in Chrono Cross are so weird.
Yeah.
And nobody has done anything like it since.
Because they don't want to.
Because they don't. Because
no, they don't.
I don't know. Like, and the thing about it is, I don't think a lot of these things on their own are necessarily bad ideas. I love the idea of getting out of a battle and it giving you the option, hey, you've got this amount of energy left. Do you want to just heal your characters? Sure. Give me that option, right? That's cool. Smart idea. Nobody does that. The idea of eliminating grinding by saying, okay, you fight 6 enemies on this map, and then if you want to keep going, you can, but you're not going to level up anymore until you beat the next boss. Like, this is as strong as you're going to get. Feel free to grind if you want to like get items and money or whatever, but like, this is it. You are now strong enough to continue the game. And like, that's so interesting and cool, but like, nobody has done anything like it. The whole elements system and the stamina combat, where it kind of actually was taking a little bit from Xenogears. In Xenogears, you would have 7 stamina points and then attacks that used 1, 2, or 3 stamina. Chrono Cross did the exact same thing. So they kind of borrowed that, but like giving you the option to go into the negatives on your stamina. Like, I guess you could maybe argue that Bravely Default sort of took that general idea by letting you, sack a bunch of brave turns and go into the negatives. So maybe that one is one that did kind of carry on in some form. And then Octopath Traveler kind of refined it a little bit. With the boosting. So like, there are just, there are so many interesting mechanics in Chrono Cross. Like, it did not need so many interesting mechanics. It, like, I almost feel like it would have succeeded a little more if it had played it a little safer. 45 characters. Okay, this is the other thing. I hate this. But like the idea of a game having that many recruitable, distinct fighting characters, like
Suikoden was like that too, right?
Outside of Suikoden, it was not done. And yeah, I don't know. Like, there's just so many kooky things that
like
Chrono Cross did.
Like the recruiting aspect to Chrono Cross was a little bit more ambiguous. And there was like a lot of aspects where like you would just lose. Like if you picked one, you'd lose out with another.
Yeah, you definitely couldn't get everybody on a playthrough. You'd have to play multiple
So it's not like Suikoden was like you can collect all of them. So it made you happy when you got all of them. But with like Chrono Cross, you're like, I have to make a choice. And like, I was like, I always got like really like, okay, which one am I going to choose this time? Or which one I'm going to choose when I first played the game. It was like,
and I always went with Guile because he was Magus and nobody was going to tell me otherwise.
He really was.
He was 100%. And then they kind of confirmed that in the Chrono Trigger DS remake. Yeah. Oh yeah. The new ending in the Chrono Trigger DS game basically confirms that Guile is in fact Magus.
I missed
But
that.
anyway, yeah.
Something we'll talk about in our spoiler cast.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
For Chrono Trigger, which I'm pretty sure it's officially now we're doing Chrono Trigger.
Yeah, okay. I'm pretty sure it's official.
Cool beans.
So I'm excited for that. But yeah, Chrono Cross was a very interesting game at the time. And that's why I think it's very polarizing on the internet, kind of like Final Fantasy VIII in that same style almost. But I feel like more so because it's a Chrono Trigger sequel. So there's a lot more expectations people put on it.
Yeah, it's true. Like, I guess by the frame of the argument I'm using, you could say a lot of the same things about Final Fantasy VIII. I think Final Fantasy VIII has more haters than Chrono Cross does. Even there's a subset of internet JRPG fans that will defend Chrono Cross to their dying breath. And
I feel like 8 too, though.
Yeah.
Even Ben Starr.
I haven't come across them as much, but yeah, it's possible.
Ben Starr is like the champion of Final Fantasy VIII.
Yeah.
Sure, and he's probably the highest profile supporter. I love 8. I think 8 is actually fantastic, and
I love the story of 8.
I love the story. I actually love the gameplay. Once I think we talked about this. Once I learned how to play it the way they wanted you to, and made myself play it that way, I was like, oh, this is actually pretty rad. Like,
I need to do that.
Yeah, it's actually really good. Like it's just as a kid, and every time I replayed it up until the last time, I chose to play it the boring way.
Yeah, I feel like that was the only way I played it as a kid.
And it was only because I saw a YouTube video. I wish I could remember who it was so I could give him credit. But I saw a YouTube video that was like, you're playing this game wrong. Like, here's how you're supposed to play it. And he just kind of walked through it. I was like, oh. I literally didn't know you could do that. They did such a bad job of showing how you're supposed to.
Well, it's kind of like Xenoblade 2. So maybe this is the precursor of Xenoblade 2's poorly explained.
Not properly explaining your mechanics. Relying on fans with YouTube channels to explain it for you.
Or back then, it was GameFAQs.
Yeah, GameFAQs.
Back in the old day, the GameFAQ walkthroughs and guides and whatnot.
But yeah, Chrono Cross is so interesting to me as like an intellectual concept. I replayed it a few months, maybe it was a year ago now. I replayed it and I just to see if I felt differently about it, right? Because I was like, I don't.
Did you do the Dreamers edition?
Yeah, I did it on the Radical Dreamers edition, and I was like, no, I don't. I think I was right. I don't think I like this, but I feel like I have a better understanding of why now. You know, just from having had more conversations about this sort of thing, I feel like I can better articulate now why it doesn't work for me. But yeah, it did so many interesting things that in a vacuum, I am surprised more games haven't adopted. It's fascinating.
Yeah. Because there's some really cool mechanics if done right. And just the combination, like you were saying, it's just too much for one game to handle.
It was a lot for one game to handle. I would almost say that from a pure gameplay standpoint, I have basically no qualms with Chrono Cross. Like, you know, an 8 out of 10, you know, I would say really good, really solid. It was just the story and the characters
and character
that I
and
did not, yeah, I did not.
Would your experience be different depending on the characters that you recruited?
No, that was really the problem.
Okay.
Was
that was the problem.
They literally wrote a program in the English. They wrote a program to translate the stock dialogue into whatever accent the character who was with you had, so that everybody's saying the exact same thing. Nobody has a distinct personality outside of the little bit that when you meet them. Once they join your group, they are no longer unique. They don't matter.
Okay.
So that was the biggest bummer for me, was the characters. And
so they're basically just NPCs with uninteresting NPCs in your party.
Uninteresting NPCs.
And a silent, and having
a silent protag. So you have
silent
nothing.
protag. There you go.
So you
that's where the biggest red flag is.
The only interesting character is Kid, and she spends, sorry for the spoiler, half the game in a coma. So like, it's like, what are we?
Yeah.
What are you doing, Kato?
Yeah. Because it's just not good for those who like character focused stories, which I think we all do.
Yeah.
Here.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's unfortunate because like with Chrono Trigger, you got like very interesting, distinct characters.
Personalities. Yeah.
You got like 7 or 8 just brilliant characters that are fun.
Know. Exactly.
You know? I mean, they're not, are they the deepest characters? No. Luke is probably the deepest. But like other than that, she's,
but they stay true to their character, Yeah. And that's what I appreciate.
Yeah.
And the game is short enough that it's like, if there are holes in their stories or personality, you don't notice it because it's over.
I know, that's true.
Yeah. And the other issue I had with Chrono Cross, I know this isn't a Chrono Cross air grievances episode, but like, I hated how the story of Chrono Cross wraps up and then the end is like, okay, now we're going to do this thing that's related to Chrono Trigger and you have no context for this. And like, we're going to do this now. It's like there's a whole story in Chrono Cross where you're doing all this stuff, the dragons and fate and all this stuff. And then you finish all that and they're like, okay, now we got to do this thing. And
oh, wait, we have to actually make this related to Chrono Trigger.
Yeah. And if you haven't played Chrono Trigger, you are going to be like, what? What is going on? This makes no sense. I didn't like that. I feel like they should not have done that. They should have worked it a little more elegantly into the plot. And let me know in the comments how wrong I am, how it actually does connect to the dragons. I mean, I know how it connects. I've played it. I know, but it's
not as satisfying as you wanted it to be.
It's not as satisfying. It's not as compelling as I feel like it should have been.
Yeah.
I need to replay it. Maybe after we do our Chrono Trigger replay.
I need to actually play it. I have
just play the Radical Dreamers and turn on no damage and just blast through it.
Just blast through it.
Yeah. It's fun.
But you said the combat's good.
Yeah. Well, yeah, if you've never played it, you should definitely play it for real.
Okay.
You should definitely play it for real the first time. But Dala, like, if you're just going to replay it real quick for the story. No damage.
Because it's been so long. I've played the game like at least 3 or 4 times back on the PlayStation. But I haven't played it. I haven't played the remaster.
Was the added VN stuff good, at least story-wise?
The Radical Dreamers thing? Yeah, I mean, it was cool to actually have a actual legit localization of that. So I played that fully for the first time, and that was neat. I feel like it would have been so interesting if that was the only sequel to Chrono Trigger. If they had stopped there and Radical Dreamers, it was just like this weird footnote on, because like Radical Dreamers is doing what Chrono Cross is trying to do. They're basically telling the same story kind of, but Radical Dreamers is just like the super brisk condensed version of that, wrapping up that, because the whole point of Chrono Cross, right, is to wrap up this one dangling plot thread from Chrono Trigger, the one thing that they didn't wrap up in that game, and they did a whole 2 games, alternate tellings of wrapping up that plot line. Was
that like they saw their error after completing Chrono Trigger? They're like, oh, we should make this game around this, or was it intentional?
I want to say that I read that they had originally intended to wrap up that plot line in Chrono Trigger, but they ran out of time, or I might be making that up, but I feel like I remember reading that. Yeah.
I wonder if they do the Chrono Trigger remake that's been, hinted at for so long, would they, because we have like, they're probably going to have on site, like having, all the main guys, at least consult on it. Will they kind of pull in a more concise, story and ending that kind of wraps up everything that they were trying to wrap up with Chrono Trigger?
Yeah.
within
no
within the remake
possibility remake,
and just like kind of make Chrono Cross.
They did
void.
the Radical Dreamers edition.
They could void. They could. I mean, it would void Chrono Cross.
It would, but I mean, Chrono Cross is all about dimensions and
it's
like
true.
alternate
So it's
realities.
alternate. Yeah.
So you could say it's an alternate reality if you want to keep it canon.
Exactly.
And the whole Chrono Trigger DS, like I was so optimistic when that game came out because they added all that stuff that ties it into Chrono Cross, and I'm like, you know, all the post game content where you like go find Dalton and he talks about how he's going to the kingdom to the south and he's going to raise up an army and all this stuff. Like that's all stuff that was just off screen in pre Chrono Cross, right? Like it's just stuff that happened that you never saw. Yeah. And I was like, oh man, they're actually taking this seriously. They're going to do more. And then they, you know, it's been 18 years or whatever since that game came out. And okay. Who knows?
They're waiting for this remake.
This is going to be. This is going to be our year. This is going to be our year. This I did not mean to turn this into a Chrono Cross podcast. I'm sorry.
No, I'm here for it.
It was a Xeno
had an opportunity
podcast
to
a second
talk
ago.
about it.
That's true.
Yeah.
We had to bring a new game in here that we haven't talked about as extensively.
Yeah.
That's true. I don't think we've talked about Chrono Cross as extensively as like other games. So thank you, Brandon.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Thanks.
It was interesting to hear too. As
Thanks for
someone who's
making
not
that
played
a good thing. Thanks for making that a good thing for me. I want to bring up Live Alive too. Live Alive on the Super Famicom sort of pioneered this short story collection JRPG format that has become a thing now, and I'm very here for it. Octopath is like the premier series now for that, you know, HD 2D style, and Team
I see it trickle into indies with Quartet too.
With Quartet, yeah.
Oh, Quartet deserves mention because like that is a really good utilization of that format. Especially, it kind of did the best of both worlds. Like it gave you all these individual stories, and then you have a second act basically that is like all of them together. I love that. That's like what I want every game like that to be. And so far, only really Quartet has been that way.
Because it's always been my gripe with like that style of game. Storytelling is just always like, by the time they all get together, there's like really nothing linking them. Like there's no story that is like, it's not strong enough that makes me like really compelled.
This is the Avengers Assemble, not quite.
Yeah,
exactly. Like it's just like kind of like very, I don't know, not that interesting. But
it's like they're trying to rush the ending. Like, okay, now it's done.
Live Alive's approach I actually like better than Octopath's in that they are truly siloed off. Like they take place in different eras, and you're not getting overlap in characters because they are their own stories. And then at the end, there's like a concluding chapter where you bring everything together, and that's cool. But it feels like more of an afterthought than like Quartet, where it's the whole second half of the game is this process. So I like the short story format a lot, and I hope that we see more games that do it, even outside of Octopath. Like Octopath is great, and I love Octopath. Hopefully, we'll see more games that take that approach.
What Live Alive also did interesting is that like every chapter or every storyline had its own distinct style of gameplay too, which was really tied to the world that story takes place in, what that character is like. And I thought that was like, that is interesting in itself. You don't see that happen. Like Octopath Traveler doesn't do it. I don't think I've seen any other games really.
I'm racking my brain. Like on the edge of my mind, I feel like there's something that's similar and I can't get to it.
Let us know.
I know what you're talking about.
Yes.
Let us know if there's something that does that, because I'm trying so hard to think of it and I can't get there. But yeah, like giving you truly distinct gameplay experiences. I mean, like, for the most part, I guess Live Alive, the combat system is the same, but like the format of things, the setting of things, like, there's one that's basically a fighting tournament where you're just like you're a professional fighter. I don't know. And there's one where there's actually almost no combat at all. The far future one. And I want to say that there maybe is another game that did something kind of similar where it's broken up in a variety of different gameplay styles, but I don't know.
Yeah.
But it is very cool.
There is one. Yes. It is very cool. And I wish there was more games like that.
All right. Lightning round, since we only have a few minutes. Any quick ones that you want to throw in?
One that I've never fully played, but I know of it is Xanadu Dragon Slayer 2 for the PC-88. It did lots of things interesting. It had like a very distinct action combat, but it also had a moral system, as well as like a survival/eating like mechanic where you had to eat to survive. Which on the PC-88, guys, remember this is like 80s PCs, so like having all these different mechanics, you didn't really see that as often. I think maybe in the PC world, maybe more, but like just within the JRPG scope of things, or in the scope of RPGs, it wasn't really big on until much later, especially survival mechanics.
Yeah,
the survival mechanic and even the moral thing, like that's kind of had its heyday since then. Yeah, or I want to say like, it kind of ebbs and flows.
Xbox 360 is maybe when it started with, or even like I saw that more with like Fable 2 and stuff.
Fable
like
and
Fable really kind of tried to push that, but didn't quite.
Yeah, 8th and 9th generation, I want to say it really kind of took off, and then it's kind of waned a bit, and then it's come back. I feel like it's ebbed and flowed a lot, but it definitely in those early 80s, like Xanadu having that system was kind of laying the groundwork for all of that, for good or for ill, I guess, because I know some people really don't like the. At least they don't like the way the moral systems in some games are implemented, like BioShock.
Yeah.
It's like, are you going to help this little girl or are you going to murder her? What a choice. Okay.
Like there's sometimes it's fun to be evil, but murdering little kids.
Yeah, it's like that's a little sad. It's a little sad. And also it doesn't substantially change the game all that much.
No.
Triangle Strategy tried, but it didn't really change too much.
I still have qualms with Triangle Strategy. It's like it make it sound like the decision has so much weight, and while it does do different branching paths, like the story implications aren't that weighty. Like like okay, well we'll do this now because you chose this. Like like it just seemed like it was the end of the world kind of decision, but then it wasn't.
That ended up not really having all that much impact.
Exactly.
That's the bait and switch. I don't
like that bait and switch either.
I don't care for that. Kudelka is one.
Yes.
And kind of Parasite Eve. So Parasite Eve took this like survival horror approach to JRPG, and I think Kudelka was like the full realization of that concept. Kudelka, people didn't know what to do with it when it came out. They're like, what is this game? This is so weird. It's this 4-disc long, extremely slow tactical turn-based game, but also it's like Resident Evil. What? And it is very hard to classify it in a genre, but it does pretty effectively tell a JRPG story in that format. It also, like, one of the things it did that kind of still blows my mind to this day, I feel like you don't see this all that often even in modern games, is their scenes, like the cut scenes would be in engine, like it would just be a static backdrop with the polygonal characters, but they would be fully acted. And I don't just mean voice acted. I mean, they clearly had the actors on set wearing motion capture outfits and acting these scenes out. All bespoke animation, all just like, and I was like, this is crazy. You don't see this in a lot of bigger budget modern games. And they were doing this on this weird, like, just, I don't know, man. Just like
we see it now with like Expedition 33. They had like body models.
Like the high, like the really high profile games like that, or like Final Fantasy 16, a lot of, but even that, like,
or Mortal Kombat,
a lot of the just like basic conversations that you would have with an NPC that aren't full cutscenes. They're just standing there and they do this, like these little awkward gestures that these
like their motion, like they're not totally still.
Yeah.
Where it's uncanny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you'll get even stuff like that in modern games. And I mean, for the conversation scenes in Kudelka, man, they were just like, just act. Just act. Very crazy. That was what's the director's name? He wrote the music to Secret of Mana.
What is his name?
And he directed that game. Yeah.
That's
it's interesting to see how many composers also direct games. There's like an overlap there, like a few direct.
Hiroki Kikuta.
Okay.
Hiroki Kikuta.
Kakuta.
My man.
Hell yeah.
Not an RPG, but can you guys see like a Death Stranding RPG coming out?
A Death Stranding?
In the future?
I don't think
RPG
Kojima would ever... He does not like... I don't think I've ever seen him very big on RPGs.
Other than that solar one.
The solar one, yeah, he did that. But like, I feel like he likes things a bit more.
It doesn't have to be Kojima, though. Like someone taking that style and making that into an RPG.
Oh, a strand, because he created a new genre, remember? He created the strand genre.
Exactly.
Oh,
I don't know what that means, but
I don't know exactly.
But yeah, that would be interesting. Like a big sci-fi, open world sort of JRPG experience. Yeah, where like you're moving across,
like a more cinematic one too. Like I feel like that could easily be something JRPGs do, especially if they lean into like anime cinematic kind of things.
I would love to see that. Give me some more sci-fi JRPGs out there. Like,
I like that too.
I would love to see that. So if anyone's thinking about it.
So I'm thinking like there might be precursors in other genres that could trickle down into JRPGs sometime.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like that.
Yeah.
I'd like that.
I'd like to see more.
That'd be a good topic.
Innovation. Yeah. Like our dream like spin-off or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
RPG spin-offs from other
Let us know
genres.
if you want to see that episode. That'd be a fun little topic, I think. But non-JRPG, but like, games like Ducey X.
Ducey.
Deus Ex.
Or like just in general Western RPGs
Western
like
RPGs.
Deus Ex that are JRPG-ified, not necessarily made into anime. They don't have to be anime to be a JRPG.
Or Expedition 33.
Expedition 33 is an example. So like take a Western RPG and like a Fallout JRPG.
Another way around too, like I guess with Dark Souls, Japanese company. But JRPGify it.
JRPGify it.
Take the transition from a Western genre to that Japanese genre.
I think there's still room. Like people like to claim that there's not that much innovation in JRPGs anymore. It's just they always think of traditional turn-based or something like that, or not as interesting action mechanics. But I think there's still plenty of room to grow and for innovation to happen.
You can definitely you can create new mechanics,
precursors or but ahead of their time games that will emerge.
Yeah, because like you think about it, so like Expedition 33 was popular for its time button presses during the combat, but that predates it. So like going back to Legend of Dragoon or Kodako, even when we were talking about before, and Shadow Hearts and things like that. They kind of set the stage for that style.
Yeah.
And created that and now it's become like with Expedition 33 where they took it to like a whole like harder perspective, like made it turn it into like a Souls kind of.
More Souls, more smaller time windows too.
Exactly. Like created a challenge around it.
Because like if you play like Paper Mario 1000-Year Door, it's pretty like you don't have to actually do the time presses that well to.
It's very forgiving.
That game.
Yeah,
it's very forgiving.
But that's like Paper Mario. I think Paper Mario always been kind of.
Well, they're trying to cater towards everyone.
It's like younger, easy to get into. That's the Mario RPG style of things.
Yeah. But I think this was an interesting topic to kind of look at.
Yeah.
RPGs in the past that may have been ahead of their time and influenced games of today. I'm sure there's a lot more we did not cover. I'd love to hear what you guys think in the comments.
Let us know what you guys think. And as always, thank you for all the support you guys give us, to all our members out there who help and support and make this podcast happen on a weekly basis.
Thank you.
Thank you to all our, what do you call? What do we call them? Pursuer Plus.
Okay, yes. I was gonna say you got to give me more. I don't know.
I had like a brain hiccup for a second there. Pursuer Plus members who have also just voted on
Chrono Trigger.
Trigger.
The next spoiler cast.
For our next spoiler cast will be Chrono Trigger.
What version of the game are you guys going to play?
The DS.
I've already played the DS, so it's going to be
I'm going to play the Steam version, which has all the DS stuff in it.
Oh, maybe I should do the Steam version too. I could play it on my Steam Deck then.
Yeah, that's my thinking. Is I'll have access to it multiple places.
That's true. Yeah, I might just do that then.
And is this where we announce that there's going to be a new format to our live streams?
Yeah, we should go ahead and talk about that briefly here too.
We should.
Yeah, we are going to be kind of transitioning our live stream to kind of more of a topical news sort of deal where we're sharing our thoughts on the happenings in the JRPG world over the last however long. I just feel like there's a...
Yeah. Currently, we're going to do it monthly. But if it gets more popular, we might consider doing it more frequently.
Yeah.
So it's up to you guys if you want to stay tuned and are interested in it.
So please tune in if you like it. Let us know.
Originally, this was set up for, we'd have a Q&A with Pursuer Plus members. So if you are Pursuer Plus members, you can still ask us questions and we will still answer them.
Yeah, we're still going to do
the Q&A end of our live streams.
Yeah.
At the end of our streams, but now it's just open to everybody.
It's open to everyone.
Yeah.
And more topical because our episodes, we don't usually get to talk about, news related stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm excited.
We think you're just a good outlet for that.
Yes. There's lots of happenings and we'd like to talk about it.
I feel like we'll get more happening soon.
Yes.
You're right.
Especially, with Dragon Quest Day coming up. So the idea is that I think we're going to be doing these Monday evenings, North American time.
Yeah, we'll settle on the
so we will make that time more obvious in either social media posts and or on our community tab here on YouTube.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
keep an eye out for that in the coming days. We'll be scheduling
our live streams for YouTube.
Stream. Yes.
Yep.
YouTube.
On YouTube. Yes. Look out for that. It'll be a fun time.
Yes. It should be fun.
All right.
Anyway,
should we tread some more water or should we say goodbye?
I think we got to close this one. You gotta put the jam in.
It's getting a little too much.
Plug it up.
Okay. Goodbye, everybody. Thanks.
Take care, everyone.